In this video, we are going over the worst soccer mistakes you can make in training. So make sure you're avoiding this when you train. I'm also going to give you some alternatives you can do in order to get the most out of your training. That's coming up next. This video is sponsored by Rocket Sports, where you can get 15% off of their line of soccer products by clicking on the link down below. Rocket Sports sells a variety of soccer goals of all sizes and for all ages, along with other training equipment like rebounders to help you improve your game. They are not only great for team training, but for your own individual training as well. I personally use their products during my own training sessions, and I love them. Click on the link down below to check them out for yourself. Let's get into the video. Guys, as you know, this is Dave from SimplySoccer, and on this channel we're working to help you improve your game and stand out on the pitch. So if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button and hit that bell icon so you don't miss any of our new videos. So let's get right into the first worst thing you can do in training. Now, I want to get this one out of the way quickly, and it's not warming up. And this might seem like a simple one, this might seem like one that's obvious, but so many players still fail to warm up properly. And in fact, it led to a really big injury for myself when I went to the field and just started shooting as hard as I could and ended up hurting a disc in my back. Warming up takes about 10 to 20 minutes. It does not need to take long, but it's something you need to get in the habit of, or you really do risk injury. And sometimes you also risk not performing as well as you can. Really dedicate yourself to using those first 10 to 20 minutes of training to warm up properly. Do not half-ass it. Do not skip it, because even if it doesn't do immediate damage, it can do damage over the long run as well. And the last thing you want to have happen is you sustain an injury like I did just because you didn't take 10 minutes to warm up before training. Second one, and this is another huge issue I see, especially with players who tell me what their training routine is it's going intense every single training session. I get so many comments from players telling me that they practice 2, 3, 4, 5 hours every single day, and they tell me that it's in a very intense way. Some of you are very young and your body might be able to take that now, but as you grow a little older, and I don't mean that old, I mean later teens, 20s, that's going to start wearing down your body and just make it more likely that you're going to injure yourself. Always remember, it's consistency over intensity. I would much rather you do 30 minutes to an hour every single day, where you're not always going to failure, where you're not always going super intense and you're giving your body time to recover, than go like 5 hours on one day, or God forbid, that many hours every single day. Now, sure, you could split up your training sessions throughout the day, so maybe you do an hour in the morning and you have a 2-hour session later in the afternoon, and you've given your body appropriate time to rest and you've done recovery things so that you're not killing yourself. But just remember, consistency over intensity. And there is going to be a point of diminishing returns. So even if you work for 5 hours, all you're really doing is damage, because you may experience diminishing returns around the hour-and-a-half mark. So every training session should not be an intense training session. Most of your training sessions should be consistently done, and then you have intense training sessions sprinkled in amongst the consistent sessions you have. But if every single time you're absolutely tired, you're jacked up, you're sore, then you're going a little too much, and you're actually not benefiting yourself by doing that. In fact, you're hurting yourself. You need rest and recovery, and you need sessions where you work more on the technical stuff and you're not always doing fitness and killing yourself by the end of the session. Now, there should be sessions like that too, but they shouldn't be as prominent as you think. Next, and this is another huge one, is going through the motions when you're training. When you're going through the motions, you're really getting zero benefits from anything you're doing. You grow through challenge. You become a better player through challenge. And what you really want to do when you're training is induce what's called a flow state. I made a video going over how to get into the flow state specifically during your football training. I will have a bar come across that will lead you to that one and a link in the description. But just understand, if you're just going through the motions, you're half-assing your training, that's how you're going to perform in matches as well. You're not going to get much benefit out of it. One player who works for 30 minutes a day but is actually focused in flow and is actually, deliberately training, is going to get more out of that session than a player who goes through the motions for an hour and a half each day. Remember, it's not only how much time you train, it's the quality of your training. It's not only about how hard you train, it's about how smart you train. Final mistake to avoid is avoiding the hard stuff. And this is something that I used to do when I was younger that I really regret, because I would avoid things like fitness and strength training because it, for me, was the more difficult stuff that I didn't like. But by avoiding the hard stuff, you're missing out on the benefits of that hard stuff. If you're not doing your fitness, you're not going to be able to play as well in matches. Because if you get winded after 30 minutes and can't give your all beyond that point, it doesn't matter how skillful you are, it doesn't matter how good a player you are with the ball at your feet, you're not going to be able to perform that well. Another thing players avoid is the stuff they're not good at, but they need to be good at their position. It's almost like if a striker was avoiding finishing training just because he's not good at it at the moment. You can't be avoiding that stuff. You can't be avoiding the training that's more difficult just because you're not good at it right now. Again, with consistent training, you will get better at these things, but make sure you're not avoiding the harder stuff, the fitness, the strength training, the areas of your game that are weaknesses, but you have to get good at if you want to be a player who stands out. Remember, you don't have to get good at this stuff right away. I'm not asking that you go out and practice this stuff for hours every single day, but if you were to, for example, work 20 to 30 minutes on a weakness of yours every single day, while also giving yourself enough rest to recover, you will start seeing the benefits of that over time. A lot of times I give players 30-day challenges to work on specific areas that they're struggling with, whether it's ball control, passing, shooting, whatever it is, and I guarantee that if they complete that 30-day challenge, doing even 10 to 30 minutes of that skill every single day, they will see massive results over a 30-day period. And if they go beyond that point, they'll see even bigger results. Okay guys, so those are some of the worst soccer mistakes to avoid, especially during training. Pretty simplistic stuff to follow, but a lot of players fall into the trap of doing these things. So make sure you're avoiding them. Make sure you're really, really focused during your training. Make sure, again, your training should be very deliberate. It should be very focused, very consistent. And if you're doing those things, you'll get the most out of your training. Guys, thank you so much for watching the video. Please make sure you like it and share it, and check out the Simply Soccer Academy by clicking the link in the description down below. As always, I'll leave 2 other videos up on screen for you to take a look at to help you improve your game and stand out on the pitch even more, and I'll see you in the next video.